Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for jumping on a midday call with us. I'm really excited for this information session. My name is Jordan Tal, and I'm the coordinator for Mega Mission to Israel, taking place officially 6 months from today, Monday, June 13th through Tuesday, June 21st. Mega Mission is an opportunity to explore Israel with hundreds of fellow Pittsburghers. Over the course of 9 days and 8 nights, we travel from Tel Aviv to Haifa to Jerusalem. The food, tour guides, and accommodations are all 5-star. Mega Mission offers several tracks to travel on. We have a young adults track, first timers, family track, and for returning visitors, we have a main mission track. On 2 days of the mission, most participants can personalize their itinerary and choose special excursions. All participants will gather most nights of the mission for 7 once-in-a-lifetime mega events that take place in unique venues all across Israel. We also have subsidies while supplies last. So I just wanted to give you a little background on the mega mission. I know there are some new faces on the call, so I'm really excited that you decided to join us today. But if the Israel portion isn't amazing enough, we're going to talk about why a pre-mega mission to Poland. We're really excited to offer a chance to travel to Poland on our pre-mega mission destination. Warsaw is Pittsburgh's newest sister city and a very meaningful addition to our Partnership Together regions. This will be the first opportunity to visit Warsaw since this partnership has been formed. Our mission to Poland hopes to further strengthen Pittsburgh's relationship with Jews, not only in Israel, but around the world. And we're looking forward to personally connecting to the emerging community in Warsaw. You can actually go to the next. Thank you, Carly. Join Jewish Pittsburgh in supporting the Jewish community in Poland and a voyage of remembrance and renewal. Understand Jewish memory through the tragedy of the Holocaust. Meet the passionate people revitalizing Polish Jewry who are connected to Pittsburgh and Carmiel and Misgav through our Partnership Together relationship. Our Poland mission officially begins at noon on Wednesday, June 8th. We spend 2 nights in Krakow and 3 nights in Warsaw. On Monday morning, June 13th, we'll embark on a group flight from Krakow to Tel Aviv to begin our mega mission to Israel. I'd like to introduce you to a very special tour guide. He's our Poland mission tour guide. His name is Zayed. He will share some itinerary highlights, and he is joining from across the pond. So thank you for joining us, Zayed. We're really excited to have you and introduce you to some participants that will travel with us to Poland.
Hi, everybody. So first of all, if the pond is the Mediterranean, then that's great, because I'm in Israel. Not in England, but we'll be in Europe, hopefully together, all of us. So my name is Zayed. I run an organization which is called J-Roots. We've been running Poland excursions, as well as excursions to any places of Jewish history, including Israel, for the last 16 years now. And I've been involved in Holocaust education since 1993. I did grow up in England, that's right, hence the English accent. But I've been living in Israel since 92, actually. So I want to just take us through a few of the highlights about Poland. I'm going to keep it short and brief, just so that we understand why we're intending to do this. Now, Pittsburgh itself has, from what I know of Pittsburgh, okay, since 1980 has had a Holocaust survivors community center, which is incredible. That's very early on that people were doing that Pittsburgh were looking after their Holocaust survivors. From that perspective, it's shown to us that Pittsburgh is very much connected to the idea of making sure that the memory of what took place in that part of the world stays alive, and that we look after our survivors until they're, God willing, we hope they'll all live to 120. What's the reason to go to Poland? So I would tell you this as one of the people who also have been working with Giant Leaps for a number of years, and you're going to hear from Noga very soon. Incredible organization, and also from with my hat as a J-Roots educator, as well as the founder of J-Roots. There are very few experiences in our life that are as raw as going to a place like Poland. Poland, of course, opens up a lot of history that many of us have tried to bury. But at the same time, it allows us to understand the beauty and the magnificent world that we live in today, as a Jewish community today. We have never lived as a more privileged Jewish generation than the one we're living in now. And even though we've come out of the Holocaust from 80 years ago, okay, we today are living a life that nobody dreamed would ever be the case. But in order to understand Islam much better, there's no doubt about it, if you have the background of understanding what took place in the area where so many of our families grew up and lived at one time, and then moved either to the States or to Canada or to America or to Israel, England, and the various different Jewish communities around the world afterwards, to get that perspective allows us to be able to open many more windows on the Israel portion of the trip that we'll be taking together. We're going to be starting in Krakow, as you can see from the slide over here. Krakow is one of the 10 top visited places in all of Europe today. Lo and behold, because for us, Krakow, okay, what do we know about Krakow? Schindler's List. That's what pops into our mind. But Krakow itself is a very beautiful city. And that is why when you speak to survivors, they say, my beautiful Kruka, my beautiful Jewish Krakow. And it really is a beautiful city. And they had some beauty in their lives there. We're going to be heading around the beautiful buildings that are still standing. And everything in Krakow is standing as opposed to Warsaw. You can actually place one building after the next. And if people have understanding where their families were, if they came from Krakow, you can actually go to those houses. From there, we'll be, unfortunately, having to jump into the second part of the story, which in a second I'll get to Warsaw, which is, of course, the ghetto and the story of how, unfortunately, people were led then to their death. In between, before we get to Warsaw, we're also going to be going to Auschwitz-Birkenau. The word most synonymous with the Holocaust is the word Auschwitz. And over 2.3 million people, pre-COVID, I should say, visited Auschwitz every year. It is wonderful that there are so many non-Jews visiting Auschwitz every year, but just as important is to be able to educate ourselves on what really took place there. I think we all know anti-Semitism, and your community felt it as well. And it's on our doorstep, and we need to have the facts and understand what took place so we can educate ourselves to educate the future generations of what had taken place there. So the first couple of days, we're going to be in Krakow, dealing with the city and dealing with Auschwitz-Birkenau. We're then going to jump to the next slide, and we're going to be traveling by train to Warsaw, which again, as Jordan mentioned, is hopefully I'm saying this correct, your partnership city, and it's an amazing community. It's a community that has come out of the ashes. It's a community that I would say for many years hid themselves. Remember, after the Holocaust, in 1946, there was a pogrom in Poland. That's after the Holocaust, where 46 Jews were killed in a town called Kielce. Many Jews left then. Communism then came in. And in 1968, there was an anti-Zionist propaganda campaign across the whole Russian bloc. Jews hid their Judaism until 1989, when the Solidarity movement allowed for a new regime, or a new, I should say, era in Poland, which we're living through to this very day. Jews started to come out of the closet. All of a sudden, there was a Jewish community. And today, that Jewish community has kosher shops, kosher restaurants. It also has community centers. It has museums, and it has Jewish schools and Jewish kindergartens and different synagogues. It's incredible to think about, because most of us think Warsaw is dead, Jewish community in Poland finished. But there are 5 rabbis that are serving across Poland, many different Jewish communities across Poland. And this, of course, is the most vibrant one. So it's great that Pittsburgh have taken this upon themselves. We're going to be going to one of the top visited museums across the world today, which is the Museum of History of Polish Jews. Incredible, in the place where Hitler never would have dreamed that the Jews could be able to build a museum about themselves, but they have. And we're going to be spending Shabbat together in Warsaw with the Warsaw Jewish community, understanding how they're dealing with their challenges, and seeing again the comparisons of what it means to be a community, whether being in Poland or whether being in Pittsburgh. Okay, the same challenges people are up against, about how to hold on to our Jewish continuity, and not just dealing with the story of the Holocaust. But we won't be forgetting that, because of course, one of the most momentous things that took place was the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. and Treblinka, which we'll be visiting, the death camp of Treblinka, which are finally put, if you want, unfortunate nail in the coffin to the great glory of what once was Warsaw. You know, I wanted to keep it brief, and I'll just end off by saying this, and so that there's time for questions and answers. There is so much to do in Poland, and it really does, as I said, open up so many questions about who we are and our identity. But at the same time, we need to understand that this is not a depressing trip. I know that people think I'm going to go back to these places, I'm going to be very depressed. I promise you, after coming out of 5 days in Poland with us, you're going to be in a completely different state of, wow, what a people we really are. If you're a betting person, you would never bet on the Jewish people. But if you know Jewish history, you will always bet on the Jewish people, because we will always get through everything. And this teaches you that as well. And that time when we're in Poland, you'll come out on a high to be able to come back to Israel in the most incredible way, to be taken over by the Giant Leads team in Israel and the rest of the Pittsburgh people that will be joining us, okay, when we get back to Israel. Shall I carry on, Jordan, or shall we take questions?
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Let's talk about pricing for a minute. So you'll see ahead of you, the cost of the trip is $3,499 per person. This is based on a double occupancy. You can save your spot on the pre-mission with the $1,000 deposit. I'll also note that the direct flight from Poland to Israel on the Monday of the Israel mission is included in this cost, along with 5-star accommodations, food, tour guides, and more. So if you have more questions on the pricing, you can feel free to reach out to me. I'll put my email in the chat. While we have Zvi on the call, let's take advantage of him and ask him questions that you might have or comments on the trip. Now is the time to ask anything you might like. You can unmute yourself or you can type them in the chat, however you feel comfortable, but we'll take some time to answer questions while we're focused on Poland, and then we'll go into the UAE presentation afterwards.
Okay, Jan, I can see you've unmuted yourself.
Yeah, so how do we travel from Krakow to Warsaw?
So we're taking the train
Okay.
instead of traveling on the bus, which is 5 hours, basically 4.5 to 5 hours. Even though you can see much more, it doesn't make sense for us, and it's Friday. We want to be able to do as much as possible in Warsaw. So we're traveling on the train.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a question. If we have pre-registered for the Poland portion of the trip, can we assume that you will book us on that direct flight to Israel and we don't have to worry about it?
Yes, you will be automatically booked for that flight from Krakow to Tel Aviv, and it will be taken care of.
Can I get a window seat?
I'll make a note.
It's going to be an expensive seat, that window seat, so that everyone can see the Israel when they're landing.
What is the COVID like in Poland?
Spectacular. At the moment, it's Europe, and Europe is not good. I'll have to say, from the perspective of, it's not doing well. Germany's not doing well. Hungary's not doing well. Slovakia's not doing well. All those areas around there, they're not doing great. Poland in itself, there's a high level of vaccinations, not enough, I'll admit that. They haven't received any cases of Omicron yet, which is, you know, God willing, that should be the case. I'm still taking groups. We have a group that's in Poland right now. Okay, at the present moment, we've got groups that are leaving next week, the week after that, running all the way through to Pittsburgh. We've got groups that are leaving. Now, I can't say that every group's going to happen because nobody knows what the situation is. What we will promise you is this, and you know, I'm sure that Jordan will speak about this in general when it comes to COVID. But JWS has a very strict policy of COVID, making sure that everyone stays as safe as possible. That doesn't mean that you need to wear masks on the bus from our perspective, because you're one bubble traveling together. And I'm sure that everybody is vaccinated. You have to be vaccinated to come to Poland. And you need to take a PCR test at the present moment before coming to Poland. And that's the same, by the way, as going to many other countries around. But we will make sure that you come into contact as little as possible with other people so that, God willing, you'll stay as safe as you need to be.
Svi, I do have one thing to add. This is Debbie, and I work at the Federation in Israel and Overseas, and I manage our partnership with Carmel Mizgav in Warsaw. I just wanted to let you know that there may be a possibility, if for those of you who went on our 2012 mega mission, you may recall that we did a process where we matched people from Pittsburgh with people from Carmel Mizgav, and we put them in touch in advance. And then the first night of the mission, everyone had dinner together with the people that they were paired with. We will likely do something similar this time around for both Poland and Israel. So it's something you'll be able to opt into, and there'll be more information coming about that, but I just wanted to let you know.
Are there any other questions that people would like to ask?
Okay, well, thank you, Zvi. I did put my email in the chat, and I also put the Poland website in the chat. We have a lot of information on pricing, accommodations, itinerary, flight information, travel insurance information. So really take advantage of the website, and you can always reach out to me. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us, Zvi. Okay, so we'll pull up the UAE slides. We have a special guest with us today. I'm really excited that she decided to join us, but I didn't give her much of a choice. So why a post-mega mission to the UAE, United Arab Emirates? We are offering this a little over a year ago. The US, Israel, and the UAE signed the Abraham Accords peace agreement and established full diplomatic relations. And if you've read the Abraham Accords, you'll note it emphasizes the importance of coexistence, human dignity, religious freedom, the support of science, art, medicine, and commerce, and how these ideas and things can inspire humankind, maximize human potential, and bring nations closer together. Their intent is to pursue peace, security, and prosperity in the Middle East. Personally, when I read that, and I encourage you to read the Abraham Accords if you haven't, it's very brief, but so worth it. I find the agreement very inspiring, and I know that our mission to the United Arab Emirates will inspire you. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to travel with your Pittsburgh Jewish community, and we're really excited to support this new relationship in the Middle East. So discover the UAE during an exclusive post-mega mission tour. After mega mission ends on Tuesday, June 21st, you'll spend the night in our Jerusalem hotel. On Wednesday, the 22nd, we'll take a group flight early from Tel Aviv to Dubai, where you'll spend the next 4 nights. The mission ends on Saturday, June 25th, with the option to fly back late on Saturday evening or Sunday, June 26th. Let's get into the itinerary. I will let our special guest introduce herself and share some highlights of this post-mission to the UAE.
Hello, everybody. My name is Noga. I work at Giant Leaps. We work with Pittsburgh for so many years. And I also did the mega mission in 2012. And I'm very happy and excited to be working with you again for the mega mission. And as Jordan said, it's really a very exciting time, you know, for us that like a year ago, we couldn't even dream of visiting the UAE. And now, like with the peace, it's just amazing. I just came back 3 days ago from an inspection of 9 days to go over and check all the location and meet with the people, with the Jewish community, with local Emiratis, and everybody are very exciting and waiting. Sorry. So I think it's very special and very unique experience. I don't know if you know, but our Prime Minister Bennett, he just landed there yesterday, and it's first official visit. So it's also very, very exciting. So maybe let's go over about the highlights of the trips. So, sorry. So don't know, if you heard or not, but the UAE has 7 different emirates, which Dubai and Abu Dhabi are the more common now that people know about it. I said always that Dubai and Abu Dhabi, it's like, sorry, in Israel, Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, or United States, Washington and New York. Well, Abu Dhabi is like the more serious one with all the government building an embassy. And, Dubai is more touristic. It's more opportunity to go out. And although you're visiting for a short few days, you'll have the opportunity to be in both places. So I think it's very good. You will visit the Dubai frame. Dubai frame is the biggest, largest frame. It's in the middle of the city, and it's very, very beautiful and exciting. You'll be able to see from one way the old city of Dubai, or from the other way, the new city, all the tall building. And if you know, sorry, Dubai has so many tall buildings, the tallest building, the highest hotel, everything so big and wonderful. But just imagine that by 1980s, there was only one big tall building in the entire city. So in the past 40 years, it's amazing change. You will also have the opportunity to enjoy and tour all Dubai. You'll have the historic area with all the old building and traditional places, and also to visit the gold market, the textile market, the spices market. And as for Dubai, it's so big and wonderful and colorful, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Also, you will be able to meet and do meeting with the Jewish community. I just visited last week with the Jewish community, and I visited the first kindergarten, which, only 1 year ago, I just heard they're going to open it, and now they have almost 60 kids, which is amazing. Maybe let's go for the second slide. Sorry. Abu Dhabi. So Abu Dhabi is also beautiful, great, and has also a Jewish community in both of the cities. The main attraction, which I also visited, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it, is the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque. Is the biggest mosque in the UAE, and they finished the building in 2007. Qasr al-Watan is the royal palace. It's huge, amazing, gorgeous, all covered with gold, of course. All the official delegation visit there. Nobody lives there, but it's like the official place to greet and meet everybody. You'll also enjoy the Louvre, the only Louvre museum outside of France. They do in collaboration. The Louvre in French gave them all kinds of art pieces, and they have an agreement for a long period of time. Although even June is a bit hot in the UAE, but still we're gonna do our best so you will enjoy a desert experience, ride jeeps, and enjoy a very nice feast. I think that cover like most of the highlights. Of course, on Shabbat, you'll have free time. There's so many things to do there. The biggest mall in the world with 12,000 stores, Miracle Garden. I don't know if you heard, it's the biggest outside garden, amazing statue, so colorful. And the good thing that the water that I use, it's gray water from the city of Dubai, so they're not wasting water. You'll be also, if you want to enjoy a ride of a luxury cars, Ferrari, Lamborghini, everything is there. Also, the biggest indoor ski, of course. Lots of art galleries, JBR walked. It's a beautiful promenade next to the sea with lots of stores, galleries, cafes. The culinaries there is amazing because they have, over 8 million people all around the world, 3.5 million from India, 2.1 million from all over Asia. So they have a diverse culinary scene. That's it. Saturday night is also included. So the program ended Saturday night. So they have the ability either to fly on Saturday late in the evening and keep your room, or of course stay the extra night and do whatever you want on Sunday and leave on Sunday. That's it, very briefly, but.
Thank you so much. She is our UAE expert. She's also our Israel expert, so she has a lot on her plate, but thank you very much, Noga, for joining us. So pricing, the cost for the trip is $4,999 per person based on double occupancy. You reserve your spot with $1,000 deposit. This includes your Tuesday night hotel room in Jerusalem, the same room you'll stay in on the mega mission. And like Noga mentioned, this also includes Saturday night hotel room in Dubai. So the price also includes that direct flight from Israel to the UAE. So you can choose to fly out on Saturday late at night, or we can arrange transportation to the airport on Sunday with that opportunity also. So we'll open it up while we have Noga on the call for some questions and answers. I hope you, I know she covered a lot, but if anyone has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and speak up, and we'll help in any way we can.
I just want to say, I'm sure you'll have a question about COVID regulation. So you need 2 vaccines to enter the UAE at the moment, and of course you'll need 2 or 3, depend on the date to enter Israel. So that's not a problem. At that moment, you need to do a COVID test 72 hours before arrival. We don't know if it still will be the case. If we still need to do it, of course, we'll arrange for you during the mega mission without any making problem during the mission. In 1 of the morning, do everybody a test to make sure that we'll cover that. They are very, although unfortunately not like in Israel, everything there is open, but still they are very strict with the COVID, everybody with masks, very limitation of number of people. Abu Dhabi is more strict than Dubai, but overall, everything is open there. So if you have any further question, I'll be happy to answer.
Is it actually 3 nights, not including that Saturday night, or it's
no,
the 23rd, the 24th, 25th?
It's 4 nights. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. Although the program is ending on Saturday night. So you either can leave the UAE or stay the extra night, it's included.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions?
How many people are needed for this aspect of the mission?
So we've currently made the decision to go, no matter what the number is. We hope to have several more sign up, but there is not currently a low number to hit. We'll go no matter what. There's no minimum.
And how many are signed up currently?
We currently have 16, with many more interested. So please share the word, and we'll also make the Zoom available. If people are interested, they can rewatch the Zoom and get the information.
Okay, I see there is a question about dress code. So the UAE is very progressive and open for tourists. Although there are like 7 different Emirates, we're focusing in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Sharjah, for example, is very religious a city. You can't even drink alcohol. Dubai and Abu Dhabi, it's not the case. In most of the places, you can dress whoever, shorts, dresses, like you dress back home, dress in Israel. It's not a problem. It's not an issue. The interesting thing that you'll see in the street, tourists with shorts and local women dressing, the local dress is called for women abaya, like the kaftan, the jalabia is abaya for women, which is normally black, and for men it's called kandura, it's white. Nobody expects you to dress like that. Besides, I do recommend, in the market, it's very tight, maybe, to have always a scarf in the bag, maybe, put it on yourself, but it's not mandatory. The only place that is mandatory, it's in the mosque. You either need to have, also for men needs to have long pants and shirts up to your elbow. For me, women, you can also wear pants as long as it's not tight pants. So like long pants and long shirt with sleeve, or you can have a dress, like a very long dress with long sleeves. And you do need a scarf to cover your hair. It's not the face is the issue, the hair is the issue. But of course, before the mission, we'll send you all the dress code and all the instruction. But in all other places, you can dress whatever you feel like. It's not an issue.
Hi, Noga. How long does it take to travel from Dubai to Abu Dhabi? Is that a relatively short trip?
Yeah, it's like an hour and 15 minutes, just like Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, really.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I will mention that Scott Seawald and Stacy Seawald are our co-chairs for the UAE portion. So thanks for joining us.
We are very excited. Thank you, Jordan.
Yep. All right. So again, anyone with further questions is more than welcome to reach out to me via email or by phone. Also take advantage of the UAE website. We have a lot of information, recommended flights, accommodations, a very detailed itinerary and those kinds of things. So we really appreciate you taking time in your afternoon. Thank you, Noga, very much for joining us. All right, that's it.